Okay, guys, welcome to financial literacy. This is going to be probably once a week. And really, the purpose of this is for us to kind of dive into some of different aspects of, I guess, economics or even personal finance, and really to help you think about some of the decisions, choices, how we spend our money, how we use our credit, things like that. It's going to be kind of pretty broad, so we'll look at a lot of different topics. Um, when we talk about economics, a lot of us think it's the study of money, and really, what the economics is the study of human behavior, because that's really how we spend our money is kind of a behavior more than it is about dollars and cents. And today we're going to look at how we make decisions regarding our money. Okay. And this is going to be pretty broad. It's not going to be specific, but we can think about a specific decision we're going to make when we spend money. So, kind of topics we're going to cover today, if we go through this, is kind of what the decision making process is. When we make a decision, for example, let's just say right now we're thinking about buying a new car. First of all, we have to ask, why do we need a new car? That's kind of identifying the problem, or do we need a new car? And we're going to gather information and talk about alternatives to that. Then we'll consider what the consequences are for the alternatives. We'll look at the best course of action when we make this decision, evaluate the results. Um, so we're going to look at some things that really impact kind of when we make a decision. And we can see right here values, what's important to you, your family, others, and your culture. Values are really important when we're making decisions. We're going to look at peers, people you know, pressure from positive or negative behaviors. Are you accustomed to doing it that way? That'd be habits. Are you making a decision when you're in love, you're angry, you're frustrated, you're neither when you're ambivalent, or if you're coming off rejection? If you do make a certain decision or you don't want to make a certain decision based on those, your family certainly comes in to your decision making, your family's preferences, other decisions your family has made. Like if we bring this into, buying a car, does someone in your family own a certain type of car? Has someone in your family always owned that type of car? Is that going to influence how you make that decision? Risk and consequence. Every time we spend money, there's a risk. Part of it is how much you stand to win. That might be if we're investing in stocks. Maybe some of us do that. We can win in the stock market. We can lose in the stock market. Obviously your decision makings are different with your age, whether you're a adult or a minor. So what I want to do now is I want to kind of pull up a PowerPoint. We're going to look at some terms here. So this is about decision-making process. We identify the problem, gather information, list alternatives, consider consequences, select the best course of action, and then you have to evaluate decision. Because if we have all probably made bad decisions with our money before, but it's important to understand, if we made a mistake, to learn from that so we don't make it again. So I think it's always important to evaluate, your results once you made a some sort of purchase. Okay. So these are some of the things that we just talked about, factors that can influence decision. We talked about your values, your peers, your habits, your feelings, your family, risk and consequences. Now I want to look at specific terms. So spontaneity, that's choosing the first option that comes to mind, giving little or no consequences, the consequence of choice. For example, if you decide you want a new car and you just go to a dealership, say I want a new car, and the salesman says, how about this one? You say, yeah, that looks great. I mean, you haven't really done any research about the car. You haven't compared prices. You're just buying out of spontaneity. Then there's compliance, going along with family, school, work, or peer expectations. That sometimes you do what everyone expects. Another common making decision strategy is procrastination. That's when you just put things off. Some of us have done this in school. You have a paper due. It's due 2 weeks from today, and we wait until the 13th day, maybe at midnight, to start doing. We kept putting it off and off. Agonizing. That's when we just get too much information. We're overloaded with data that we can't decide what decision we want to make. Intention. This is choosing an option that will be both intellectually and emotionally satisfying. Desire. That might be, like I said, your heart set on like a new Yukon, like a 2022 Yukon, and you're going to buy that no matter what. Then there's like avoidance, choosing the option that is most likely to avoid the worst possible result. Security, choosing the option that'll bring some success, offend the fewest people, impose the least risk. And synthesis, choosing the option that's a good chance to succeed and you like the best. So these are all strategies some of us use when we make a decision. Okay. The next one. So these factors may influence personal and financial decisions. Consumer prices. So right now we're in there's a lot of inflation. So right now, probably, I think I just saw the other day, the average car price is $45,000. So right now might not be the best time to buy a new car. Consumer spending, demands for goods and services are right now, as a whole, as a country, are we spending a lot of money? That's important to know. Gross domestic product, that's getting a little in the weeds, but that's the total value of goods services to our country. So that's how much the United States, how much we value of goods and services produced. Housing starts. You're looking to buy a house, you want to know the number of new houses being built. Interest rates. That's when you go to the bank and take a loan out. It's what the interest they charge you. So if you borrow like $100 and the interest rate right now is 2.4%, that means for every $100 you borrow, they're going to charge you $2.40. So the interest rate is pretty low right now. Money supplies. There are a lot of money available for spending in the economy right now. Sometimes it's important to look at the stock market and also unemployment. The number of people without employment are willing to work. All these are sometimes things you probably don't think about when you make a decision. But if we're being really well informed, we want to maybe take a look at some of these. Okay. And obviously, there are risks. Anytime you make a purchase, there's a risk involved. They can be a personal risk. And this talks about personal risk may come in the form of inconvenience, embarrassment, safety, or health concerns. There's inflation risk. Rising prices cause lower buying power. Buying an item later may mean a higher price. Well, right now it might be the opposite. If you could hold off on buying a car for maybe a year or so, the prices really might come down. Interest rate risk. That's right now buying a house. There aren't a lot of them. Prices are going for way over, but the interest rate right now on a home is really low. So a lot of people think that's a risk worth taking because I think right now interest rates on houses are around between 2 and 3%, which is kind of an all-time low. Income risk, that'd be changing careers or reduced spending by consumers can result in lower income or loss of one's employment. Career changes or job loss can result in lower income, reduced buying power. So if you're switching jobs and you were making 40,000 and your new job you're only making 25, that's going to affect kind of some of your choices. And liquidity risk, that's just if you're buying like bonds, stocks, something that most of us don't own stocks, so it's something maybe you might not need to consider, but it's certainly a risk. Okay. So these are costs we're going to look at. So opportunity costs, that refers to what a person gives up when a decision is made. This cost is also called trade-off. It may involve one or more of your resources, time, money, and effort. So for example, if you right now decide to go to like MCC, Brockport, one of the colleges full-time, that pretty much would mean you couldn't work during the day. So the opportunity cost is you're giving up your income for whatever 2 years or 4 years to attend college full time. So you're giving up something for something else. You're giving up your daily wage for the opportunity to go to college. There's personal opportunity costs. This may involve time, health, or energy. For example, time spent on study usually means lost time for leisure or working. However, this trade-off may be appropriate since your learning grades will likely improve. So if you give up your work to study, the only thing you have to do is study and go to class. That's where the personal opportunity cost is, because you're not being able maybe to do things you normally do, like watch TV during the day, play on the computer, something, because you're studying. But it may benefit you in the long run because you may get better grades. You may graduate with a high GPA and get a higher paying job that you had before you started college. Financial opportunity costs. This involves monetary values decision making. For example, the purchase of an item from your saving means you'll no longer obtain interest on those funds. So if you have like $1,000 in your savings account and you take that $1,000 to buy a new computer or something, you're losing that savings account and you're putting it all in that computer. So if like another emergency comes up, you won't have that $1,000 saved because you bought a new computer. This is time value of money. So it says spending $1,000 from a saving account paying 4% a year means that you're going to lose in that savings account $40 a year in interest, which doesn't seem like a big deal. But if it was a higher interest rate, it could be. So that's just something. It just depends how much money you're earning on whatever account you have. Okay. So these are all things that come into play when you guys are going to make a decision. Some of these might be new to you. The biggest thing is the opportunity cost, because you always have to give up something to get something, okay, or a trade-off. Your time, money, and effort are things, especially time and effort, you really can't measure. Money's easy to kind of figure out. But like I said, if you're giving up your job to go back to school full time, that's a trade-off. Also being in school full time is going to require a lot of your time. So maybe you can't socialize as much. For some of the kids, maybe then, you're having to get childcare because you're in class. So there's all types of different opportunity costs that you have to keep in mind, okay? The last thing I want to show you is I'm going to post this. This is going to be kind of what I want you to work on today. This is similar to the first page we looked at. It's about making decisions. So when you identify the problem, let's just say you can pick whatever problem you want financial. Say you're thinking about buying a new car. It could be a new phone, a new computer, maybe a new refrigerator. It's different for all of us. So, you have to pick what the problem is, and that's really up to you. But hopefully there's something you're thinking about purchasing. And then it wants you to gather all information, list possible alternatives. You would do that here. And so, for example, so if you're thinking about buying a new car, gather information, list possible alternatives. The alternative is, could be taking the bus, could be Uber or Lyft. And then what's the consequences for, deciding not to buy the new car and using like the bus, Uber or Lyft? A lot of it, maybe it's inconvenience. Maybe, you're spending, I don't know what it is, $30 or $40 a month on a bus pass. And that could be, over a year, that's, I don't know, $400 or $500. That might be 2 car payments. So you just have to decide kind of what the consequences are going to be for each one of your alternatives. Getting a new phone. The alternative is keeping your old phone. Well, maybe I don't get the best service. Maybe I don't have as much memory as I want. Or maybe I can't use the internet unlimited with my old phone. There's going to be consequences for the choices that you guys make. So it's really up to you. And then select the best course of action. And that's really up to you. There isn't, you're going to make a choice, but there are going to be results from your choice, I want you to think about kind of what the results might be. For example, if you do buy that new car or even a used car, what are the results? Well, now I have a whatever, maybe a $200 or $300 car payment a month plus my insurance. So that's just offhand, if it's $300, that's $3,600 a year I don't have to spend anymore on other things that I used to like to do, plus my insurance, plus gas. So, it's just, can I afford, is it going to change my life to have a vehicle when maybe I'm cutting it real thin about paying my bills, things like that? Am I going to be able to go out to eat as much as I want to? So, this is something we do in class. I don't necessarily need you to do that, but right here, you're gonna have to do a little research. I want you to see kind of what the current interest rate is. You could do it for like a home loan. You could do it for maybe even a credit card, even a car. Kind of see what consumer prices are. Like I mentioned, I just saw the average new car, I think, is $45,000. You can see what the average home price is in Rochester too. You can find those on the internet. This is just simply, once you do that, we're doing it again. And then there's going to be a quiz at the end that talks about some of the things that we covered. So, like I said, you guys, this is kind of really broad, but I want you to think about when you do make a financial decision, there's going to be consequences. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. Hopefully, we learn from our decisions, and that's part of it because, if we go out and buy a brand new car, but then we realize we're way over our head, we're spending all our money on our vehicle, we don't have money, to go out to eat, go to the movies, things we used to like to do, and then, all our money goes to new car. Sure, it's nice to have a new car, but is it really minimizing kind of some of the things we used to like to do? So basically, we can't do anything because we have a big car payment at the end of every month. So those are just things to think about. Same thing with a new phone. Can we get by with our old phone until we have enough money to buy a new phone? Am I able to save a little bit of money each month with the old phone? Those are all things to think about. So I will go ahead and post this. I'll post the PowerPoint too. I'll try to get everything that we went over in there so you can take a look at this. And a lot of the answers are just going to be in the stuff we went over. All right, you guys, good luck, and I will see you guys. For those of you in basic math, I'll see you Monday. If you have any questions, you can email or call me. All right, have a nice day.